Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. Let's jump right into today's explainer, which is our Filecoin protocol overview. If you've been following along on our decentralized storage solutions track, you've already seen how IPFS works to identify and move data around. But today, we're popping the hood to look at the heavy machinery that enforces those storage commitments. We're talking about the rules, the cryptographic proofs, and the state machines that make decentralized storage actually stick around. Now remember our previous lesson on optimizing concurrency for Solana performance? What's really fascinating here is the stark contrast in objectives. Solana is all about high-speed, transient execution, right? It's lightning-fast, momentary computation. Filecoin, on the other hand, is literally the complete opposite. It's a persistent vault. While IPFS gives us an address for our data, Filecoin actually builds the vault around it, locking it in for the long haul. It essentially trades millisecond execution for absolute mathematical proof of persistence.
Here is our engineering schematic for today. We are going to hit 1. The decentralized storage shift, 2. Meet the network actors, 3. The warehouse blueprint, 4. Proving it with PoRep and post, 5. The storage deal lifecycle, and 6. Wrapping up. Let's get into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the decentralized storage shift.
So, the crucial thing we need to understand is the division of labor here. IPFS is fantastic, we know this. It handles the networking, creates those unique content identifiers or CIDs, and transfers the data. But honestly, IPFS doesn't care if your data disappears tomorrow. There's just no built-in economic gravity to keep it there. And that is exactly where Filecoin steps in. Filecoin sits right on top of IPFS and adds strict protocol rules, rigorous cryptographic proofs, and heavy economic incentives. It takes ephemeral, fleeting data and converts it into a persistent, heavily enforced commitment.
Moving on to Section 2, meet the network actors.
To make all those commitments happen, we need a specific cast of characters. We've basically got 4 primary actors running this decentralized machine. First, the client. That's you, proposing deals and throwing down the funds. Second, the storage miner. They accept the deal, deposit their own hard-earned collateral, and constantly have to prove they still have your data. Third is the verifier, which is actually just the Filecoin blockchain itself, objectively validating messages and enforcing penalties. And finally, the retrieval provider. They negotiate and serve the data back to you. Now keep in mind, a storage miner can also be a retrieval provider, but the roles and the on-chain rules they have to follow are completely distinct.
All right, Section 3, the warehouse blueprint.
Because abstract cryptography can get a little dense, let's use a mental model. Imagine you have a highly valuable box of items. In this network, the storage miners are your warehouse operators. They have the physical space and the locks. The blockchain? That's the public registry, a perfectly objective ledger recording exactly which warehouse took your box, how long they promised to hold it, and how much of their own money they put down as collateral. And those cryptographic proofs we mentioned, they are the ruthless, periodic inspectors constantly checking up on the warehouse.
Which brings up a pretty important question. What happens if the warehouse just loses your box? We've all seen that terrible, sketchy, real-world storage unit down the street that accidentally sold or lost someone's grandmother's antique lamp, right? In the real world, you might get a weak apology and a basic insurance payout if you're lucky. In Filecoin, a simple promise isn't going to cut it, because the system is decentralized and entirely trustless. It demands absolute mathematical proof. If the warehouse operator loses your data, the registry's inspectors automatically catch it, and the operator's collateral is slashed. Period. They lose their money.
Section 4. Proving it. Let's look at exactly how those inspectors work. We've got 2 main cryptographic mechanisms keeping these warehouse operators totally honest. The first inspector is called proof-of-replication, or PoRep. When a miner receives your data, they can't just drag and drop it onto a hard drive. They actually have to undergo a highly complex encoding process to create a sealed sector. Think of PoRep as the initial seal inspection certificate. It mathematically proves to the blockchain that the warehouse operator definitely packed your specific data into a unique, locked crate and stored it on physical hardware. It proves the data exists right now.
But, as we know, right now isn't good enough for long-term storage. That is where proof-of-spacetime, or POST, comes in. POST is the rigorous, ongoing inspector. It forces the miner to prove repeatedly over time that your locked crate is still sitting there, completely untouched and uncorrupted. It literally converts a one-time receipt into continuous, verifiable evidence of custody. If the miner fails a post check, the network knows instantly that the data is compromised and the slashing begins.
Section 5. The storage deal lifecycle.
Let's put this all together and watch the machine run from start to finish. A file moves through 5 distinct phases. First, discovery and negotiation. You find a miner on the network and agree on a price.
Second, transfer and sealing. You send the bytes over IPFS, and the miner locks them into a sector, generating that PoRep we talked about. Third, deal publication. The deal is officially etched onto the blockchain. Fourth, ongoing proofs. The miner continuously submits those posts to the network to prove they still have your files. And finally, expiration or renewal. The contract ends, collateral is returned, or you negotiate a brand new deal.
Now notice the vital boundary here between what happens off-chain and on-chain. If you've taken other Forge College programs, you know we explore this divide a lot, and it's absolutely crucial here. The negotiation, sending the actual files, doing the heavy computational lifting to seal the data, all of that happens off-chain. But the actual publication of the deal, the ongoing proofs and the financial penalties, that happens entirely on-chain. The blockchain doesn't hold the heavy files themselves, it just acts as the lightweight, ultimate authoritative registry enforcing the state of the deals.
Section 6. Wrapping up and next steps.
We've mapped out the architectural blueprint, and we arrive at this golden rule. Incentives are meaningful only when attached to clearly enforced responsibilities. This is exactly why we spent this explainer diving into the protocol architecture before looking at the economics. The whole system of collateral, payments, and slashing penalties, it only works because we have PoRep, Post, and the on-chain registry rigidly enforcing the rules. Without this architecture, the economics would totally collapse.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. If you can mathematically prove a piece of data is safely stored anywhere in the world without ever needing to trust a central corporation, what entirely new types of human coordination does that unlock? It fundamentally changes how we think about human history, data ownership, and digital truth. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer as part of our Exploring Filecoin for Enhanced Decentralized Storage module. To explore more about this subject and to dive deeper into our NFTs and decentralized identity track, please visit forge.college. I'll see you in the next lesson where we tackle the storage economy.